Okay, you can see me. This is going to be kind of an awkward video because I'm not at the best angle, but I would like to show some of my yarn creations and things I'm working on. I did have one yarn project that I was working on, but I might change it, so I'll talk about that a bit later in the video. So I wanted to show my cloak because I've always wanted a cloak and I wanted to make one. This is the cloak. I'm trying to show as much as I can. So it's longer in the front. Not that I intentionally did that, but with the pattern, it seems like that's how the flow of the cloak is, which is fine. It's not that much longer. But I have a hood in the back that I showed the color in my webcam video, but it didn't really show. Sorry for the weird video. But I also have two shawls, one for myself and one that I'm planning on giving to my grandma-in-law. But John loves this shawl because he wears colors like this since he's from Florida. So this is the shawl that I was going to give to my grandma. I haven't seen, or my grandma-in-law. I haven't seen her in a while. And I might just sit down again. I am getting a cloak pin for my cloak, but the medieval cloak pin, but I don't have it right now because, well, I didn't order it because I'm using this when it's colder. So the shawl that I made for myself is this one. It's a little bit smaller because I got some extra yarn that I used from another skein of yarn. So those were my main projects. I could switch over to another angle, like not facing me, because I don't need to be showing anymore. I'll actually just film this way. So one of the hiccups in my knitting project was that I was trying a different needle gauge because it was the smallest one I had. So this is a size 6 and I did ribbing. This is for my husband's gloves, but the hiccup was today when I got back, I realized that Lakota got into toothpaste and the other yarn needle, or the other knitting needle, was next to it, so he ate that, the other knitting needle. So he seems fine right now, and he went to the bathroom as soon as I got home, so I'll be checking on him. But I do have another size 6, so I might continue this with the knitting, or I might do this with crocheting instead, because this isn't the right well, it wasn't the needle that they used for the video for the size, but I feel like it would be a good fit because it's not going to be too tight. I'll see if I want to continue it on here, but just to do it because it does look cool. It's not as tight because, again, it's bigger, but I'm using yarn that I was making a cardigan with, but I decided I wasn't going to do the cardigan anymore because the cardigan seemed smaller than I would have wanted because it was a gift. It was going to be a gift for my mom, but then I wanted to do it right. So I was just going off of the tutorial that I was watching, which was a good tutorial, but I think that I'll do my own measuring. So another one I'm doing, it's going to be a bigger project. I told myself that I was going to do a small project next, but I just wanted to make something that I knew that I was going to use and my husband is going to use. So I'm using the Dusty Grape. I'm sorry, I didn't really say any of the yarn names, but this is the Red Heart Premium one. So I love that it's very soft. I started making a blanket. This is going to be a larger throw blanket. So I'm loving how it's turning out. I chose this pattern. I saw Cynthia do this too, so I'm like catching up with the projects that I thought she did was cool over the years. But I chose this project or pattern mainly because it seems like there's not as many holes because I don't want it to snag. And I'm using a 6.5 and it's a good color with this. So I'm using some full skeins and then some scrap yarn. So I was getting the scrap yarn. The next color I'm probably doing is Claret. This is the yarn that I use to make my hood. I'm not going to put my hood on now because my hair has to be laying a certain way for the hood to go on. So it's a large hood though. I made sure of that. I also have, these are mainly colors that I have on my cloak that are the leftovers since the rows got long, because this is the size of a, you can use this as a blanket. So this one has tinsel in it, which is nice. Olive, Aran, and these are Red Heart ones. Cafe Latte, I need to detangle it. And also I had something going on there, but then I changed the project up. So I do modify it just to make sure that the finished product is what I want. And I'm so sorry, there's dog hair on it. Chocolate, this is another premium. Medium time, I do have a little bit that's not on here. And I have Evergreen. So this is going to be another full one. I'm enjoying the project so far, and it's nice that I can do this crocheting because when you do the knit pattern of it, it gets really tight. So this is comfortable to do. Just I wouldn't say it's a preference because either or I like the pattern, but um, it makes crocheting it is quicker, which isn't really a problem, but it was mainly that it's a more easygoing project for me, I suppose. So I'm at 10 minutes. I took a couple of days to do this because I wanted to have finished products of stuff, and also because I misplaced one of my phones, the phone that I'm filming on. So this is an older phone, but there's less stuff on here, so there's more storage, and also it has better camera quality than my regular phone, so I'm gonna upgrade my phone sometime. I don't really need it that much because I do the basics. Because I remember back in the day, I used to mainly, I'm sorry, my voice is cracked, mainly just text and, well, mainly call on the phone, and I texted eventually because my parents didn't get into putting texting in the plan until later on, but I still preferred calling anyway. And I also have my Kindle too, which I'm reading a couple of things, so I could get that. I'm sorry, I said this in my latest videos, but I've been coming along with my deck. I actually am making like a card painting every day or every other day. So it's just over the years of reading, I finally get to put all my ideas on a paper. So it's a good time for me in my life to do this too. So I think that's why it's flowing so well. But aside from that, I haven't really been using changing up the tarot decks. I have been using the ones that I gravitate towards, which are fairy decks, but one specifically is the Raven's Wand Oracle. I would say that out of all of my decks, this is really eye-catching to me. I think it's so beautiful. And it's based off of Stephen Hutton's popular Dark Raven Chronicles trilogy. So I'm actually reading that on my Kindle right now because I just finished Druid's Daughter by Jocelyn A. Fox. You might not get a picture of it, you might just get text. Some of them have pictures in the beginning. So this is the Druid's Daughter. This has been my favorite book lately. It's definitely up there. I think the flow is fantastic. The characters are relatable. I feel like they're not overdone in a way that the actions aren't so dramatic, and you feel like you could see where their thought process is. At least I'm compatible with the characters and how they're set up and how they're described and what they do. Because I find with some books, this could be, it's definitely preference, because I find that with some books, specifically the Fever series, I think it's definitely, it's a ride when you're reading the book. And that's like somewhat of a quote from the end of the book, but it really takes you on a dramatic journey, at least for me, because I'm not used to having certain things that are in the book. Like, they talk a lot about cars, they talk a lot about really outgoing characters that are so upfront, but they're raw And I don't want to say the imperfections, but their uniqueness makes them very likable for me at least. I think that in the beginning when I first started reading the series, I was uh, trying to speed it up a bit because I wanted to see how I would go with the book series, because the beginning was it was kind of youthful and naive, I would say. And that's maybe how I would describe the main character, so Michaela or Mac, because I think what it was is that in general, I like series that are maybe more mature and more developed. They have like characters that aren't too maybe antagonizing. They're very upfront. They're very, at times, childish in the book. At least that was mainly in the beginning, but you definitely see it character development in a lot of the characters, or you see their backstories too. But before I continue on reading other books by Jocelyn A. Fox, this isn't by the Fever series, the author of the Fever series, but that is The Druid's Daughter, which I loved the book. I'm going to read the Fae War Chronicles. So she doesn't have more books to The Druid's Daughter yet. It's a new release, but I am going to be reading her other ones soon. So before that, I'm reading the Raven's Wand Chronicles. Dark Raven Chronicles, sorry. I was like reading both the Oracle and the book. It's interesting so far. Some people said that it took a while for them to get through the intro, but I didn't think it was that. For me, I like to read literature that gets you thinking. And, well, in general, I like to read fantasy, mainly fairy themed. But other than that, I don't really get into other types of books. So it was very descriptive in the beginning, and some of the messages and some of the things that were said in the beginning of the book, I think were more cryptic, and you had to get into it, maybe think more than maybe a book that's more obvious. There was definitely plot twists in the Fever series, but I would say that the actions and the events that would happen, some of them were more clear and obvious that it was going to happen more than the Dark Raven Chronicles. So it's also more of a, I wouldn't say it's formal writing, but it's more of a formal themed novel, even though it's not really considered fantasy because, well, I wouldn't at least, because the author is into the craft, but it does take place in England, so I'm hoping that connection, without me trying to describe it for 10 minutes, is going to help you understand what I'm trying to say. So I mainly read it on my Kindle because I sleep really late and it's nice to have the backlight. I also really like the lighting in the Kindle too. So I really like technology that has basic functions. I wouldn't say that I don't like development or for technology, but I do miss the days where I was on my phone less because it would just be for calling or texting, but I find myself on my phone a lot more. So it's definitely different. I wouldn't say that it was better because I would think that the people that are or this generation that's growing up with these new things are enjoying themselves and they wouldn't want to go back in the day where they didn't have the stuff. Okay, well, I'll see what time it is. It's 20 minutes. That was me rambling. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my discussion. I did publish my first few cards and I'm going to show those, and then after I finish the next 20, I'm going to publish those. I didn't publish 20 this time, but as I progress, because the site that I'm using, the more that you do, the more savings it is because it's a bundle. So the minimum was 10. So that's what I did because I really wanted to see the effect that it would have on the cards, the paintings. Oh yeah, before I go, you might not be able to see it that well still, but this was a special ring because it was a ring pointed out by the Fae. And the Fae have been really present the last few days. I see them coming and going, mainly in the house. But when I was at Veteran Affairs with my husband, sometimes they have vendors, and I picked up this emerald ring set. So I asked myself, am I going to get anything? And I got the answer yes. So even before going into the store, I feel like I'm going to have an idea of what's going to happen because I like to be present. Well, I also like knowing what's going on. So I do want something more fairy or more earthy. Nothing really caught my eye because if I can't see it across the room glimmering or catching my eye somehow, I don't want it. I like things that stand out. I like things that speak to me, that's Fae. Just the things that you see on my channel. So I was looking, we were about to go, but I'm thinking I should keep looking. And there was a fairy necklace, specifically a fairy with a wand. It was the only fairy necklace there, and I looked underneath it, and it was the green ring, or the emerald ring set. So I'll take it off just to show. And I'm like, that's the one because I love this type of green. I use it a lot in my artwork. I'm sorry for the messy background. I have to put stuff away. And also the bag that had the toothpaste in it, I threw it out too, but I had to wash the stuff that was around it. You don't get much of a shine, but it's very vibrant. It's so green, it almost looks like there's a hint of blue, but there isn't. But it's a deep green. So after I finished, so I'm just jumping around because I haven't made a video in a while, and I would like to make this one count. So with the Raven Wand Oracle, it really spoke to me. I haven't gotten decks in a long time. But as soon as I saw it, I thought it was up my alley. I didn't get it right away. But just when I saw it in person, I just knew. Or even when I saw it the first time. I feel like it's gonna go well with my deck. It has a cryptic fantasy theme that I like, that there's more to it, and also I really wanted to get the most out of it by reading the books. And I didn't see any reviews, but sometimes when decks are based off of certain things, they can get a low review because there's a misunderstanding with the symbology. I love stuff that's more than meets the eye. Definitely emotive. It's more of a calmer deck. It's more formal, again, with the English type of theme because of where it takes place. I mainly say that because I did have the Victorian Fairy Tarot, and I wasn't that compatible with it. Not that this isn't something that I'm compatible with, but it's not how I really see the Fae. So my fairy deck is going to be not solely Irish, but it's definitely has an Irish bite to it. Like you're gonna see it. So I'm so excited to be showing that to you guys. I hope that these videos are okay for you because I know I mainly do tarot videos, which I'll still do. I did get another request to do more cards for the Spencer's Tarot. I say Spencer's Tarot because I got it at Spencer's, but you can get it at other stores. It's a novelty deck without a name. So I hope that the ones that are watching it have the deck, because I don't like promoting things, or I don't like what is it called when you try to sell something to somebody type of thing. So I don't want people to go out and buy it just because they see the video. If you guys really want to get it, you can, but I guess because when I saw the pricing on the Spencer's Tarot online, they upped the price a lot. Not like a self-published deck, but it's like $25, and I got mine around $8, so I do feel bad about that. Whatever you guys want to do, definitely feel free. So I'm gonna go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I think you could see that it's getting dark. I closed the blinds, and luckily my camera didn't fall down when I put my stand on here, so I didn't have to open the blinds for it to be too bright. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you in another video.